what we do in life echoes in eternity. Welcome to Flying Wiener's in-flight entertainment. Your comment section is down below, as well as your like, share and subscribe buttons. If you look around, you will see there are no exits, so you will have to watch the video until the very end. Your choice of film for today is... Thank you for using in-flight entertainment. Enjoy! Hi, my name's Drew. Welcome to the very first episode of In-Flight Entertainment. I hope you enjoyed the intro. If you saw the preview I did last week, you will notice that this time there is a film at the end, so it's slightly different. I know it looks a bit silly and that, still I hope you enjoy my humour. I find it very entertaining. So, the very first film in the series that I'm going to be talking about is Gladiator. It's one of my favourite films of all time, and it's definitely one that I would highly recommend to anyone who would say to me, give me an example of a film that represents cinema and what it can be about. So as explained briefly in my intro video, which you can find up here by the way, I won't be approaching this from my typical structure where I talk about the story and then talk about various other issues. I'm going to give bullet points that I really like about the film, and we'll delve more into them. The first one nonetheless is the story, because I feel it's one of the main driving points that make this film so interesting. You have an epic tale in every sense of the word. Not only does it span continents and countries, but it's also the individual journey is truly epic, and the venues that it's placed at as well are just massive. So you've got the one setting in Germania with all the barbarians, and then you've got the hot temperatures of Africa where you've got Zuccobar, which has got lovely colours as well, and then of course you've got Rome. So you're travelling all over the place. As far as the individual story goes, you have the General Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, who starts out as a general who doesn't want to do anything more than just go home after the campaign's over, and he ends up losing his wife and his son and is turned into a slave, who then fights in the Colosseum as a gladiator and faces off against the emperor. So that truly is also quite an epic tale, where you go up from such a high to pretty much the lowest of the low and then all the way back up again. Along the way you've got all sorts of political intrigues in Rome that have got to do with the power struggle that happens after Marcus Aurelius dies. You have great scenes of camaraderie between all the gladiators, the slaves, and obviously the soldiers in the very beginning. You have wonderful scenes there. So all in all, such a huge story that's got so many aspects in it. I think it would be hard not to find something that you enjoy about it. The character of Maximus is something I really want to talk about. He is obviously the hero of the story, but still there's so much about him that I feel makes it such an interesting character. You have just, of course, his whole development. He's the general who becomes a slave, who becomes a gladiator, and who ultimately wants to get his vengeance on the emperor. So that journey alone is already quite a story. But I love the way how Maximus holds on to what is dear to him. I love that family is such an important aspect of him. And he's got other things that are great as well. He's got this thing where before each battle, be it on an actual battlefield or in the Colosseum, he smells the earth, the soil. And I read up that Russell Crowe actually brought this in. He said he thought that that's something that reminds Maximus of being a farmer. He's testing the soil, he's checking what the soil is like. There's also this great scene where he's with Marcus Aurelius and he's asked to describe what his farm is like, and you just see his eyes lighting up, where again you see not only the great acting ability of Russell Crowe, but I just love the character of Maximus. He's so passionate about this, getting back to his family and enjoying the farming life. It's such a high contrast to being an army general where he just slaughters people basically. It's amazing, and on top of that, he's obviously the tragic hero because he has everything at the start. He loses everything, and then he has this epic journey to not reclaim his life, but at least get his vengeance. So it's quite the journey, and the character of Maximus definitely, for me, he adds a lot to the film to make it so enjoyable. One thing that stands out in Gladiator is the acting. You've got such a huge cast of magnificent actors. It's even difficult to think about where to begin, but I suppose the most obvious is Russell Crowe, who even won an Oscar for his performance in this film. His acting in Gladiator is brilliant. You can see a lot of the emotions that he's going through. He does a lot with his eyes in particular. He does such a good job of showing you in certain scenes how strongly he feels about something, in particular his family. You've got the Emperor Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, who was nominated, I believe, for the Best Supporting Actor but did not win, although I think that's a real shame. He really should have gotten it for it because he's also got such a powerful, menacing presence. In every scene he's in, he does an incredible job of making you, as the audience, really, really hate him. He's got no redeeming qualities whatsoever. You have Connie Nelson, who portrays Commodus' brother and former love interest of Maximus, and she does a great job at portraying the struggle that she faces, where she's trying to support her brother, or at least she's trying to appear to support him, while she's basically just trying to survive and keep her son safe. She as well just does such a great job to show you everything. You can see the contempt in her face that she has for Commodus. At the same time, you can see the strong emotions she feels for Maximus. It's really brilliant. You have Richard Harris, who plays Marcus Aurelius, and well, there's not really much you have to say about him, just marvellous, the fatherly figure that he plays here, both to Commodus and particularly Maximus, of course. You have Oliver Reed, who unfortunately died during the filming of this. There's an interesting bit of information there, where the special effects artists, the visual artists, they had to make a digital copy of him to finish off some scenes, and the film is also dedicated to his memory. You have, I believe this was the first film that I saw Jimon Honsu in, and I immediately liked him back when I first saw Gladiator in the cinema, and I'm so happy to see that nowadays he's still all over the place in all sorts of films. He does a great job of portraying this comrade to Maximus while they are slaves and gladiators. Just their talks are really enjoyable, where they're talking about family and how they miss them. It's a really great moment, especially at the very, very end, which I won't spoil, but he has a great finishing moment as well. Music. Now, full disclaimer, I am a huge fan of Hans Zimmer, and I am pretty sure this is the film that started it all off. I have bought many of his soundtracks, but I do believe Gladiator is his complete best. When you go through it, there's just so many great pieces of music in this that are emphasising both the ferocity of battle, but also the sentiment in battle, even where you have these moments, and just so many great moments to pick. I can't obviously show the music here, although I'd love to use it, but obviously it's under copyright. But if you click on a link here, I'll link to a playlist that shows all the tracks. Please give it a listen. Just on their own, even these tracks are amazing, but when you see them in the context of the film, they're just absolutely brilliant. It works on every level. You have the quiet moments, the loud moments, and what I like in particular about it is I feel this was before Hans Zimmer really had all these huge bombastic soundtracks, with the huge bass and everything. Of course it happens here as well, but I feel it was more balanced. It wasn't such a strong emphasis, and although I love all this huge bass stuff, I feel this is, again, the most balanced of all his soundtracks. It's absolutely brilliant. I've decided to lump together the directing, the editing, and the set pieces, really, because I feel they all go together, and they're such a magnificent job of telling the story. You've got all these magnificent sets. You've got the big battle at the start in the forest that looks incredible. You've got Rome and all the rooms that you see them all in. They're so great to take in. You'd just love to pause and just have a look at all these wonderful sets that they've got there. Then you have the arena in Zuckerbar where Maximus first starts fighting, and that already looks impressive. Then you go over to the Colosseum in Rome, of course, and it's just breathtaking. And of course they did a lot of this in CGI, but it takes nothing away just from how awe-inspiring it is as a structure. I've been to the Colosseum actually, and I can confirm even nowadays as a ruin it looks so incredibly impressive. So just to think about what it must have been like in those days, actually makes me a bit sad to not have seen it. To talk more about the direction, Ridley Scott does a great job of really making scenes feel really tense or really beautiful with just small things. What I really like, you've got for instance a scene where they're about to go into the Colosseum for the first time. They're standing behind the gates, and in the Colosseum there's a huge gladiator. He's got some weapon he's swinging about, and you see the perspective from the gladiators in the stable, and you just see this shadow keep passing in front of them. They realise what's going on, but it's just this moment of tension and anxiety for a lot of them because they know they're going into battle right now, and it's just this shadow, it just keeps teasing them, taunting them really. Another beautiful moment is towards the end where Commodus and Maximus, they fight each other, and as they're ascending into the arena you've got these rays of light coming down. It's so beautiful with the rose petals and everything. Commodus in this white suit of armour. In terms of really iconic shots, I don't think it gets any more iconic than those shots of Maximus walking through into the Elysian fields. You first have the stone wall with the wooden door in it that he walks through. That shot alone it is actually my favourite of the whole film. I love the way it looks, the light, the colour, everything about it is just so magical in my opinion. And then following that immediately you have his hand moving through the field, which is a shot I'm sure even if you haven't seen the film you will probably already know this shot. Regarding the editing, the pacing is brilliant, especially at the time where Maximus is in Zuckerbar and you've got events happening in Rome. It flows effortlessly because the story is edited in a way where you see a bit of Maximus fighting in the arena where he's just starting out, and then you cut over to Rome. They show all the developments that are happening there with Commodus starting out as an emperor, and then when they do cut back to Zuckerbar, Maximus is already an established gladiator, the spectators already love him, and so you don't question it. It's a bit of development that's happened off screen, but it's fine, it's expected. You don't need to see him going through every single battle. And it shows a nice passage of time. And then when we cut back to Rome, we realise there's stuff happened there in the meantime. But again, it makes sense and it just is so well done. You can't talk about a film with gladiators and soldiers without talking about the action. Of course, the action, the choreography of it is great. And what I really like about it, and this is sort of also dipping into the direction of course, is that it's not hectic. The way it's filmed, the camera doesn't cut from one thing to the next, it's not jumping all over the place, it's not huge shaky cam, any of these things. They actually even go into some scenes and they even film stuff at a very reduced frame rate, which actually gives you an even clearer picture of what's going on because you can more easily follow things. I wasn't a particular fan of that, but I'm saying it does enhance your awareness of all the action going on, but they use it very sparingly, so I didn't really mind it. But when you do see it all just flowing, it's so easy to follow everything, it's not hectic. I do wish that more films would go along with that instead of just doing a big jumpy action thing where it's all hectic and you really don't know what's going on, or where the camera is so up close that you have difficulty taking in what's happening. You've got huge set pieces and armies fighting each other in the Gladiator arena in the Colosseum. Those fights are very well choreographed. I particularly enjoyed the first one in the Colosseum is great, where you've got the whole group of gladiators working together to take down some chariots. But really all of the fights are great. You've got one with Maximus fighting against a former champion. So for action fans, well, unless your action requires guns, then obviously you're in the wrong film here. But if you like sword fighting, you will love this film too. Costumes are truly beautiful. In particular, I really love Commodus's armour. It's amazing. You've got the one at the very start where it's got the dark armour with the sort of dark blue tunic around it, and later on, of course, especially in the final fight, you've got the complete white armour with white tunic. I just love the combination. Also when he's speaking in the Senate, where he's got, I believe it's the dark armour with the white tunic. I would love to have one of those suit of armours. They just look so wonderful. Really great to look at. And of course, when you're talking about costumes, you have the iconic helmet that Maximus wears, which is great. Although I also love the armour and helmet that the champion, the former champion, wears, that he has a duel against. I really like that as well, that helmet. Obviously you also have other great costumes. All the Roman people, the population, they look great. I love Maximus's armour with the fur, all these things. Really great costumes. Just so you know, I am aware that the costumes are not historically accurate. My mother loves to talk about these things because she is into costume design a lot, and so she always knows whether things are historically correct or not. I checked in this case as well, and they're partially correct, but even if they are correct, they are at the wrong time period. And while I'm really aware of this, I nonetheless really like the costumes in this. So Mum, please forgive me. Last thing I really want to mention about the film are the magnificent quotes that you get out of it. I already did one in the intro, which of course is "What we do in life echoes in eternity." But there's so many other great quotes that you have in here. A general who became a slave who became a gladiator who defied an emperor. Are you not entertained? Strength and honour. Obviously, probably the best known quote. But I think I won't do a bad job of impersonating it, I'll just show it to you.
How dare you show your back to me? Slave! You will remove your helmet and tell me your name.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Yes, those are my things that I really love about Gladiator. What about you? Have you seen Gladiator? If not, I hope my video makes you want to watch it. Like I say, it's one of my favourite films of all time, for so many reasons. If you like the film, please share what you love about it in the comments down below. There's so many things that could be touched upon that I haven't mentioned in this video. But these are the things I feel strongest about. But there are more, of course there are. And also let me know what you think about this new type of video. Like I say, it's not really about a review. I really want to focus on what I feel is great about films, and I hope Gladiators 1 was convincing now. And I look forward to doing the next, although I will remind you that these videos will be done more sporadically, so whenever I do have time, I hope I'll be able to manage one in a month, but we'll see how it goes. And I do already know which one I'm going to do next, but of course I won't let you know yet. Other than that, I thank you for watching. Please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.